What if we could transform the moon's atmosphere to make it habitable for humans? Sure, the lunar world isn't necessarily the first place that comes to mind when we think about space colonization, but it might be the best option available to us. Now, you're probably wondering if it's even possible. How hard would it be to terraform the moon? How could it be done? What are the upsides and drawbacks? Are there better options out there? Earth's natural satellite has always been considered an important part of our space colonization journey. However, it doesn't seem to be enjoying the goodwill or airtime that places like Mars or other planets enjoy. Most only throw the lunar surface into the conversation when talking about a temporary location that could facilitate habitation on other planets. This position could be right or wrong, depending on the angle you're looking at it from. I must state at this point that it would be wrong to equate our planet's moon with any planet when discussing colonization. That's because it is basically a different entity from all those planets, and might even be our best option for colonization. While the moon is just this giant rock with no atmosphere or water, it's a rich rock that's filled with beneficial raw materials for humans. Think of all the main industrial metals like iron, platinum, and gold. They're all on the lunar body in abundant amounts. It's also been bombarded by asteroids for over billions of years, leaving the surface with more resources just lying down and waiting to be collected. Not only is Earth's moon packed full of these resources, but exporting them to Earth would be super easy due to the conditions that exist on the lunar surface. Launching rockets from the Earth is hard work because of the Earth's gravitational pull that requires a tremendous amount of energy. With the Earth's thick atmosphere, rockets would also have to contend with atmospheric drag. And then there are environmental factors like wind and rain that could delay launches for months if success is to be achieved. The lunar environment, on the other hand, presents no such challenges, even if they're exactly the same reasons why it is currently inhabitable in the first place. Our moon's gravitational pull is only a fraction of what we have on Earth, which would make the engineering of rockets entirely straightforward. They also won't require high amounts of energy to counteract gravity since it's almost non-existent. The lack of atmosphere on the moon also amounts to no atmospheric drag and less energy. Again, super easy rocket launching and exportation. But that's not all. We won't even have to consider serious aerodynamics for the rockets. We can simply build huge vessels that can transport more resources because there's no drag or gravity to contend with. Since the environmental conditions could also not delay launches, we could just export waves and waves of resourceful metals, more than we would ever need on Earth. You could launch entire space stations rather than the style of doing it in parts of the Earth. Another condition that applies to launching rockets from Earth and even mining activities is the environmental hazards that accompany these tasks. As for the lunar world with no living environment, there would be no concerns about destroying living ecosystems or making natural resources non-conducive for some organisms. Terraforming the moon also makes sense due to its proximity to Earth. Since it's in Earth's orbit, moving between both worlds would be much easier than transporting people or resources to somewhere like Mars or Venus. While communicating with planets like Mars would experience delays, doing so with our natural satellite experiences almost no delay. The moon also receives the same amount of light as we do on Earth. That means it could more easily support plant lives than further places like Mars, which do not enjoy the same amount of light. Its proximity to Earth also ensures easier access to Earth's decades of industrial civilization, billions of human resources, and billions if not trillions of dollars. If it were this easy, why are we just still discussing it? Well, there are challenges and downsides to terraforming our dear moon, but could we also navigate around them? The reasons why the moon is a great location to colonize are effectively the same as why we can't live there. So far, we've mentioned how it's a good idea to export resources from it largely due to the availability of resources. However, living permanently or raising families on the lunar surface would take more effort to achieve because there's no atmosphere, no magnetic field, no water, harmful radiation, dust, and so on. Instead, the target should be colonizing it for its industrialization, that is, using it to build the infrastructure that will usher in space colonization. With established colonies on our planet's moon, we can industrialize it by taking advantage of the favorable conditions. Even better, because this makes colonizing other parts of the solar system easier. So, if we could terraform the moon to possess an atmosphere like Earth's, do all the challenges suddenly vanish? Well, terraforming would be no easy feat. Getting it done would take years, unlimited resources, and billions of dollars. But thankfully, Earth's moon already has some of what we need. Its crust already has oxygen, but the rocks need to be melted to get it out. To make water, we would have to melt down the rocks to release the oxygen and combine it with hydrogen. So there's no water, but the ingredients are there. But the Earth's atmosphere is made up of 78% nitrogen, which is not much on the lunar world. Even if we manage to fix an atmosphere on the moon, will the solar flare not wash it off in the long run since there's no protection? Not really. Earth's moon is quite capable of holding on to an atmosphere. While the sun would take off some of it, it would still have enough to support life for thousands of centuries, especially if we replenish it artificially. Another option is building a gigantic magnet that will serve as an artificial magnet field for the moon. The moon may be more useful to us with its lack of a habitable environment. It will allow us to build an infrastructure that supports the colonization of other places in space. For this to be the case, it needs to possess the ability to export resources and infrastructures, which are available in its current form. Terraforming the lunar world will make it more habitable, but it also strips away all the advantages we currently have. For instance, giving it an atmosphere would give it the same drawbacks as we have on Earth, where you need huge, substantial energy to launch rockets because of gravity and atmospheric drag. Our planet's moon is a crucial element in our plans to inhabit other planets, but a terraformed moon reduces that possibility. By terraforming the moon, we would reduce the ease of mining and exporting its resources. Terraforming also means giving it oceans, which will further complicate our need for it. The parts of the moon that are richest in metals are the Maria. You can also find huge reservoirs of resources in the dark spots. Meanwhile, these areas are also characterized by low elevation. Terraforming our lunar body to have oceans means burying these resources underwater and effectively making them harder to access. The basic goal of terraforming any entity is to add life to it. Once that happens, it raises the concerns of killing that life or putting it in danger. So, terraforming Earth's natural satellite denies us the rich resources we could get from it in its current form. However, we have the option of turning to other planets. What other space locations could we terraform instead? While we've established that the moon is a great place to colonize for its resources and conditions, planets like Mars and Venus would represent better colonization options for their ability to support life. For one, Mars already has water, and scientists believe it may have even had more water in the past. It's believed to be the most similar planet to Earth, with a thicker atmosphere and more water, some of which have been lost with time. Mars is also much larger than the Moon, presenting more space to accommodate humans if we could terraform the planet. The gravity on Mars is also greater than that of our lunar environment and is closer to what we have on Earth. Then, its atmosphere has layers of carbon dioxide. However, colonizing Mars also presents its challenges. It's further from the Sun, making it receive less energy. It does have an atmosphere, but it's not particularly habitable either. There are dangerous sandstorms, high winds, and difficult terrain, but terraforming the planet should reduce some of these issues. For Venus, we would have to reduce the effects of the dense carbon dioxide atmosphere as well as the surface temperature at 450 degrees Celsius. It would also need more oxygen for humans to colonize the planet. Mercury is even more difficult. It is too close to the Sun, and terraforming the planet would be required to shield it from solar wind. Other alternatives we could consider include moons of other planets and even space itself. Building space habitats may represent a cheaper way to expand our colonization out of the planet. While our planet's moon is a suitable candidate for terraformation, we should look at alternative locations like Mars and Venus. That's because it is more useful to us in its current state. Instead, we should colonize the moon to leverage all its readily available resources and its export power. Terraforming the lunar body would strip off its current benefits and may not even be as habitable as we would like. Thanks for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.